Good evening, friends. Senior Counsel Nzamba Kitonga, Senior Counsel Designate Kyogo Kilukube, Honorable Flores Mangangi, and my fellow learned colleagues. I'm delighted to be with you here this night. But my delight may be subjective. I'm always in a dilemma on how to conduct myself in court and in public outside here. Because in court, it's very easy to advance your case. You either hit on the law, you hit on the facts. But if you have neither of those two, you bang the table. But in elective politics, I'm told you need to hide your intentions. I've never known how to hide my intentions. But because my acumen in court has always delivered results, I will pursue the same style in my quest for leadership of the law society. Let me just ask the question. How many of us here know that on Monday, the DCJ will be appearing before the Judicial Service Commission for an inquiry as to whether a tribunal will be set up for a removal from office? Answer? Nobody. On the 29th of August 2018, the DCJ was arraigned in court. The intention of her arraignment was to charge her with the intention of removing her from office. Then, many of us who appeared in court in her defense had been balkanized as the lawyers who always come out to defend Mutu Akwao. How many from Lower Eastern came to defend Philomena Mbete? I saw him.
In spirit.
Well, you eventually disappeared all over. Not the fact. Now, Okiri Kamaloka had its end of year party about 2 weeks ago. The turnout was about 500 people. The Western Juries had its end of year party 3 days ago. The turnout was about 250. I've made a quick arithmetic computation of the population of Canvas here. They're less than 50. In my estimation, therefore, the demography of the lawyers in Kenya is as follows, in that order. The Luos, the lawyers, the Kikuyus, the Kisis, the Kambas. The Kamba community has had the privilege of giving us, at least in my memory, 2, let me say 3 leaders of the law society. May I start with the elect Honorable Mutula Kilonzo, my learned senior and colleague here, Mr. Nzamba Kitonga, and lately, Eric Mutua. Do you think they were elected on the basis of their ethnic or regional bloc? Of course not. They were elected by a majority of Kenyans. Many of those who have spoken before me have told you many good things, but I'm afraid I must tell you bad things. And it's good to be told bad things, especially when a season is coming to an end, because fear propels you to do the correct thing. We've had a leadership of the law society for the last 4 years that is not noticeable. It cannot be said that they have done that which we last saw being done by Eric Mutua as president. What do we need to do? Yesterday, the president was on national TV in a public function where he made 3 fundamental statements that affect the practice of lawyers. He said that a bill must be fast-tracked to ensure that advocate legislators do not practice law. If that bill succeeds, then Honorable Flores Mutua will not practice law. Sorry, Honorable Flores Mangangi will not practice law. Honorable Mutula Kilonzo will not practice law. What else did he say? He said that he has to put in place a framework to ensure that our fee is cut down. As the society spoken about it, I'm sure if this happened during the time of Senior Nzamba Kitonga or Eric Mutua, or even Mutula Kilonzo, who was perceived to be the lawyer of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, he will have come out and spoken. The Gamba community has produced the majority of council members in the council that is currently in office. Again, I go back. Their biggest support base was from the entire nation. In the last 2 years, 3 events that are very fundamental have affected the bench and the bar. We've had the DCJ being arraigned in court. We've had several magistrates being arraigned in court. We have had several lawyers being arraigned in court, not because of a crime as ordinarily known in the practice of law, but because somebody wants to leverage against them in the performance of their duties. How many of us have come to the defense of these people? As the term of this council comes to an end, and as we prepare to usher in a new leadership, these are the fundamental questions that you need to ask yourself. And I don't want to sugarcoat. The work of the President of the Law Society of Kenya is not an easy job. It's not a fashion show. It requires somebody with gravitas, somebody who is bold enough to speak and to act, somebody prepared to put his chest open in your defense, Odeu, in your defense, Mwema, in your defense, Mwizi. And I've done this time without number. It will appear that I'm the only candidate who has not served in the council before. It will be said that I may not have the experience to lead the society. Is that really so? The Law Society of Kenya Act is quite elaborate on the mandate of the Law Society, and by extension, the function of the head of the council at that particular time. It should therefore not be a big problem. But more importantly, evaluate a candidate on the basis of what he has done in his own capacity without the badge of office. Because ideally, if somebody has achieved whilst in office, he was or she was performing this function. 2 years may appear as a short period of time in the history of the Law Society of Kenya, but it may also be a long period of time if within that time the foundation that is put in place by the leaders and council members is not strong enough to sustain the society for a long period of time to come. It is for that reason, therefore, that you must ask yourself, what do you want? Please answer that question when you come to make your decision on the 27th of February, 2020. May I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you, Nelson.
I know the night is getting on. I will not be here for too long. My seniors, Kyoko Kilukumi, Zamba Kitonga, my sister and senior, Lawrence Mwangangi, was my neighbor for many years at Ajip House. When Carol was here, she talked a bit about mentorship. And I want to touch on that. I'm a product of mentorship. When I was a very young advocate, I had clients who came to me and they wanted me to take over their matter. And because I was young and it looked like a good brief, I took over the matter, only to realize that I was taking over a matter that my senior, Florence, was on record. And when I went to see her, she could have handled the issue in a manner that was going to be very displeasing to me. But what she did is she mentored me and explained to me the proper way to go about it. And that lesson stayed with me for many, many years. She continued to mentor me, and we speak generally and occasionally on very many issues. And I want to thank her today for being steadfast and encouraging. And just to tell you that leadership is personal. It starts from where you are. Any one of us can lead. You didn't get to where you are by accident. And those of us who feel we have something extra to offer, take that step to do so. Not because the rest of you cannot be leaders, but because we are all chosen to tread our own paths. And this is the path that we've chosen for those of us who are running for office. And I want to tell you today that leadership requires courage, it requires honesty, and it requires introspection. It's about listening to others. You may not like the way things are done, and you can correct others, but it doesn't mean that one way is the only way that works. Leadership is about listening to one another. It's about sharing ideas. You have seen lately, we've had groupings, different groupings in the society, people feeling like they want to pull in different directions. And it's not to say that they are wrong. No. It's to say that they feel that they're not being heard. But what do? Do we let the society keep spreading, thinning out? Or do we find a solution that brings us together? We need a society that is stronger now more than ever. It is true that with time, we have seen the nature of our practice change. We have seen situations where our own brothers and sisters are unable to make ends meet because the nature of business has shrunk and it has affected us, inevitably. But do we roll over and die? Or do we innovate and keep moving? So what we require as a society, in my view, one, is inclusivity. We need to listen to one another, we need to come together. We also require independence in the sense that we have to protect our profession from the constant assault. And the way we go about it is by taking that step to correct where it's going wrong. On Monday, we have a matter in court where we are compelling the executive, specifically the President of the Republic of Kenya, to swear in the judges who are nominated by the JSC. I'm part of that legal team that is going to push for that agenda. We must also speak out against budgetary cuts that affect the way we practice. This is something we have done. It is something we continue to do. We must also be vibrant about the nature of legal aid that Senior Nzamba was talking about. And that is why when we came together with people like Eric Kivuva here, Mudeu, and all of you who are here in the beginning, Musili, who are talking about going back. And if we can't start here, in our own backyard, it is going to be difficult for us to be able to expect it from our own society. So what I'm saying is that we have a duty to correct one another. We have a duty to also elect the kind of leadership that will hold us together and take us to the next level. So my word to you is that your choices, may they be reflected by your hopes and not your fears, because we have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to build, towards to, and we must leave behind a society that is stronger together, that we have inherited from those of us who've gone before and led us in a very good manner. Thank you very much. God bless you. Enjoy the evening. We are here to dance. We are here to know one another, those of us who haven't seen each other the whole year. And we are here to build a stronger welfare association. Before I leave you, Pabe Akitondo. Maiba. None? How many? Only two. Oh, Kimuli is here. My mother is a Mukitondo. And she was born in a place called Kakusui. And the nearest town to Kakusui is Tawa. Now Tawa, there's a low port. How many have been to Tawa? Ah, big number. Yue, Umai Wakwa, my great-grandfather, Eta Mutiso. Mutiso ay Musili. Na asila ba Tawa. True story. Oh,